What's going on, everyone? So reports came out that the Brooklyn Nets have basically opened up their entire roster, said, here, take whatever you want. And they have a lot that the Lakers could need. They have the holes, or can fill the holes, that the Lakers have from the guard position to the wing position to a scorer to, a center to... They are probably one of, if not the best, just individual trade partners that there is out there. Now, obviously, it's the cost of everything, right? Their asking prices, I'm sure right now, are probably insane. As you move closer to the trade deadline, things start freeing up and, there's not as much demand for, say a Dennis Schroeder or something like that. And they're like, we'd like to get something rather than just losing him in the offseason, right? All of a sudden, some of those asking prices could drop. Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka have a good relationship. They've had dinners and hung out and, they were back and forth trying to work on a Kyrie deal many moons ago now. And if it wasn't for Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, Kyrie would have been a Laker, but it wasn't anything like with the Lakers. It was more just out of spite to Kyrie Irving. But you look at the Brooklyn Nets roster. Starting with the center position, you have Nick Claxton, which I'm sure that would take a lot. They probably want multiple firsts for him. He's a quality just center that can run the floor, block shots. Right? He can get you a double-double on a nightly basis. He would be beautiful alongside Anthony Davis. Imagine having him and Anthony Davis side by side. Chances are they're probably going to want multiple firsts for him. He's 25, so they don't have to trade him. Right? Even if it takes them 3 years for them to get into contention, right? They don't need to rush. He'd still be 28, just getting into his prime. So it is one of those things where I don't know if we could get Nick Claxton, but they have Day'Ron Sharpe. Problem is he's not like a true 7-footer. He's listed as 6'9", which I think is funny because in college, and you can even look it up. I even double checked to look it up. And yeah, coming into the NBA, he was listed as 6'11". So I don't know if he shrunk 2 inches since coming into the NBA. But literally with North Carolina, he was listed as 6'11", 265, and now he's listed as 6'9", 265. But he is a big physical center. He's 23, so he's a guy that could make a lot of sense. He's only making $4 million, so he would be easy to just kind of acquire. He could kind of be a tack on in the type of trade. I'm sure Brooklyn, because they're a rebuilding team, they're a team that's going to want as much expiring salary and as much, assets and just young talent as possible. So how much can the Lakers provide that? Obviously, D'Angelo Russell is expiring, and you have, Jalen Utrofino is $3.3 million, and then you have some vet minimums that are expiring. But no, you look at a guy like Rui, right? He has 1 more year on his deal. Gabe Vincent has 1 more year on their deal, right? Is that something that, the Nets are kind of like, hey, we got to take another year where they may look to unload some guys? Or do they take Ben Simmons' contract and just bring on, hey, we'll take your bad salaries, right? Give us some assets, stuff like that, because they have a $40 million expiring Ben Simmons. So the Nets themselves are really going to have to kind of figure out what they want. But then from a guard position, you could get back Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is having himself a ridiculous season. I mean, he's having a career year. Problem is, he's probably not going to get the freedom and play the role that he gets to play in Brooklyn as he will with the Lakers, right? Usually with the Lakers, he's a 32% three-point shooter, 33%. But this season, he's shooting 42, 43%, which would be fantastic if he could kind of pick that up. But it gives you that athleticism, gives you that point of attack defense, right? He's also expiring, so you could let him walk if you needed to, or you could sign him to a new deal. And then the big prize at guard position that a lot of people look at is Cam Thomas. Now, I like Cam Thomas a lot. Couple things, though. One, he is a restricted free agent, which means you can match any salaries that a team may present. But how much does Cam Thomas, how much does he want? We're going to talk about Cam Johnson here in a moment. But how much does he want for a new contract going forward? He is starting to come into his own. He's having an excellent scoring season. Defensively, a bit of a liability. I would love him as just like that vacuum scorer off the bench. Sixth man, hey, go get us 20 a night off the bench, right? Like he's a guy that can really kind of put together, and he's still very young. He's like, what, 23, 24? So he's a guy that you could be part of your long-term plans, and if he continues to grow, maybe even be a trade chip for a star later on down the road, right? Like there's options there with him. Problem is that the Nets are probably going to value him pretty high, and they're probably going to want assets. My hope for the Lakers would be to kind of package multiple players, right? You know, like get a Dennis Schroeder, get a Day'Ron Sharpe, get a Cam Johnson, like a Dorian Finney-Smith. It'd be like, hey, we'll take like 5 of your guys and we'll work out the salaries, right? We'll trade some guys, do like, whatever, a 5 for 5 swap, 6 for 6 swap, whatever we got to do. Probably be more than that. Cam Johnson making so much, but you get my point, right? Like, just have like this massive like haul. You have all the things we need to go make a push to win an NBA championship, add depth, everything, right? You just want salary and assets, right? Or you expiring contracts and assets, right? Give you as much as we can, give you both first, and then the Lakers kind of rehaul. Like I would love something like that where it's like you're not trading for Cam Johnson for a first. It's like you're getting Cam Johnson plus Day'Ron Sharpe plus, because again, Cam Johnson, like I like him a lot. Is he worth the first? Probably, but you also got to keep in mind his injury history. The most games he's ever played in a season is 66 games. He's not a model of health, but you look at the wing side of things, right? They have Dorian Finney-Smith and they have Cam Johnson, right? Those are two guys that could easily slot in. They do have Bojan Bogdanovic also, but at this stage of his career, injury history, I would stay away from him. Plus you have Connect to kind of be that shooter. To me, I would look, can you get a Cam Johnson and even a Dorian Finney? Can you get both? I'd take both, right? If you can get like Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Schroeder, and Day'Ron Sharpe, let's go win an NBA championship, right? Because like literally, you're like you solve all your needs, right? Like you could have like Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Cam Johnson, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And you could have a Dalton Connect, you could have a Dorian Finney-Smith, still have Jackson Hayes, you have a Day'Ron Sharpe, right? Like, got to solve the guard position, but you like bring in a Quincy Olivari or something like that, or just like stagger, Schroeder's minutes or whatever, right? Like, you figure it out at that point, right? I really do like the idea. Again, you look at the Nets, and they have multiple pieces. Personally, if I'm the Lakers, I would stay away from the shiny toys, right? And the shiny toys being Cam Thomas, right? The shiny toy being Nick Claxton, right? Like those are the shiny toys that they're going to have a high demand for. And on top of having the high demand for, they're probably going to get multiple picks for, right? So let the other teams kind of try to go and get those guys. And then you go and get the Dennis Schroeder, the Dorian Finney-Smith, the Cam Johnson, right? The Day'Ron Sharpe. Like get those guys to bring in to kind of fill your needs. And then again, like if you can get Nick Claxton, get Nick Claxton, right? If you told me, right, let's say you ended up getting, let's say you got, Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson, and Dennis Schroeder, and you gave up both first, fine. You got me. I'm okay with that, right? Because you got a 28-year-old 3-and-D wing, you got your center for now and the future in Nick Claxton, and you got a point of attack, if he can continue to shoot the way he's shooting, 3-and-D point guard, you're set, right? You're good. Let's go win a championship here, right? Like, but again, what's the price? Like, what's the demand for a Nick Claxton? How many teams are actually going after him? Luckily, there's not as many teams that need a center, right? Most teams already have their center locked up. So the market might not be super great. But again, what is the Nets asking price? If the Nets want 2 first just for Claxton, if you're the Lakers, you just can't do that unless the asking price drops. But, again, if you could get a Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson with like a Dennis Schroeder, and you're giving up both firsts and maybe a pick swap or something, like, I don't hate it, right? Because again, you got the perfect 3-and-D guy slot alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis, and then you got your point of attack guard to slide alongside Austin Reeves, and then you got a center and Nick Claxton for now and the future. Chances are, though, you're probably starting him, so you'd have to kind of make that work, right? So do you go like LeBron at the 2 or at the point, right? So go like just for roster sake, right? Like LeBron is the point guard, and then on defense slides to the 4, and then you have, Reeves at the 2, Johnson at the 3, 80 at the 4, and then Claxton at the 5. You'd have to kind of work that out, right? And then maybe Cam moves up to the top, but you're probably better off running, unless LeBron is willing to play the 3, but then, again, it's kind of clunky, right? Or do you just go like super big, right? Like, I don't know. It'd be a good problem to have, right? It'd be a good problem to have to figure out where it's like, okay, well, now what do we do, right? Like, hey, like it's better than what we got right now where it's like, well, now what do we do? But it's not like in a good sense. It's just like, well, now it's like, which unit would be better? Should we go big? Or you can like mix and match depending on, how what the opponent is, right? Like, it's like, oh man, hey, we're playing, Denver, right? Let's have the 2 bigs to go after Jokic, right? Like, I think you kind of get that better balance. But it's all the asking price. It's all like how much are they willing to let go, which is why I'd kind of want to focus on the other guys, right? Focus on the guys that aren't going to be as high demand. Like most teams have a point guard. How many teams are rushing to go get Dennis Schroeder? I'm not saying there won't be any teams, but I don't think the market will be as big as for like a young Cam Thomas, right? Or a young Nick Claxton, right? Where I think like, hey, go get Day'Ron Sharpe. Gives you, he's not the 7-footer, but still gives you double-double, block some shots, 265, so he's got some size to kind of bang with the big boys. You kind of got that solved. Guy that can go in limited minutes is averaging like 6 and 6 or 8 and 6. I like imagine him playing in any like normal capacity where if he's playing 20 minutes a game, probably get you a double-double, right? And he's young, he's cheap enough, right? You wouldn't have to sell the farm. You still can maintain depth. You could still do all the things that you want to do. That's kind of, if I'm the Lakers, what I'd be looking at. That'd be kind of the approach that I'd take. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. I'll kind of do some like breakdowns on various Nets trades. I just kind of wanted to talk about the general idea, and of course, hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. But I'll do like some breakdowns on like what we'd have to give up to get this guy or that guy. So look forward to that. Kind of give us some content to talk about and just have some fun exploring different possibilities. So again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, what do you think of the Nets? Do you think that, yes, they are the best destination for the Lakers? You go get multiple pieces. Do you think no, right? Like, stick to Walker Kessler or Zach LaVine or whatever. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.